Well, hi there. In this video I'm going on a bit of a hunt in the rubbish that people put out in front of their homes for a Dyson vacuum cleaner. The suburb where I live, it's sort of divided into two sections. You might say they're the wealthy people, which is the area I'm in now, and there's the other area where, well, the not so wealthy people live, and that's people like me. But my saying is, you rarely ever see a Dyson vacuum cleaner out on the rubbish piles in front of people's homes. I've found one, and it was just down from my place in the poorer part of the suburb, and it was a DC01. And from what I've worked out, it's actually a bit of a collector's piece. But nevertheless, I'm looking for Dysons. Just going past piles of rubbish as we drive along here. And if I find a Thomas the Tank to save, of course I'll come in and save it. But my main objective is to find a nice Dyson vacuum cleaner, which are very hard to find on rubbish piles. Anyway, I'll see what I find. You know, it is quite amazing what people throw out. Of course, lots of rubbish gets thrown out, but quite often there'll be some rather interesting things in the rubbish piles as well. Well, here's a little vacuum cleaner that I've found. It's a Vax. Looks like it's missing the part that would sit in there. There'd be the separate piece that would come out and be a bit of a cleaner. I'm not familiar with Vax at all. Looks like the sort of brush that would get stuck with hair and stuff. Well, that looks like it's done a bit of work, but obviously it has found the rubbish pile. Just found another stick vacuum. This one's a Volta. I'm not familiar with that brand either. It's got a bit of weight to it. Doesn't work. Sometimes you can tell what this done by looking at this here. Yeah, it's all sort of stuffed up with hair and things. I don't know the year of that. I don't know if Volta's a El Cheapo brand or a good brand. Mind you, there is only one good brand, but let's not go there right now. It's missing the charger. It's out in the rubbish pile. Well, here's another pile of rubbish. Here's a vacuum cleaner here. It's not a Dyson. What brand is that one? Panasonic. I'm not familiar with Panasonic at all. I'm not exactly sure how this one went, but it's one of the very typical sort that you would see, or typical style that you would see. Yeah, it's like a bit of another head over here of a cleaner. But the Dysons are very elusive. Before I leave this one, you should take note that you'll notice all the cables have been cut away from these. There are people that come and collect the copper, and also notice it's got a bit of a tool accessories thing here. But I couldn't quite work out how to get in there and look at the dust collection area, although I do notice that down there is chock-a-block with dust. Well, another pile of rubbish outside, another wonderful home. Quite interesting, this one. There's an outboard motor here. There's a propeller. Mind you, that feels like plastic. Oh, outboard motors, they are certainly something for trouble if you don't look after them. But what we're really looking at here, that is actually one of the Aldi brands, Lumina. Now this, I wonder how old it is. Doesn't look that old. It's out in the rubbish pile, so I wonder what's happened to it. Very curious, isn't it? I wonder if the cord's been cut. Usually the cords are gone from these because people come along and collect the copper. But yeah, I have to see if I can work out what age it is, but it doesn't look like it's done that much work. Well, just here, I'm not sure we'll be able to read it. It says the 2nd, 2013. So this is basically like a newish sort of thing here. It says purchase date 26th of the 2nd, 13 on the 1-year warranty. So this is very new. That's very strange. But then again, the weakness of these machines is if this is the hose for it, I always find that this part here is a letdown. It's as cheap and nasty accessories they do for these. I'm pretty sure this is the one that goes in here. Yes, after a bit of stuffing around, it's in there. It has got a bit of fluff in there. That's curious, isn't it? I wonder what went wrong with this machine for it to be out on the rubbish pile. It's basically a year old. What's curious was there was actually a head of an Electrolux machine here. My old saying was you pick up a cheap vacuum cleaner and to make them half decent is you put a half decent head on them, something from a well-known brand. Maybe that's what was being done here, I'm not sure, but that was my idea. There you go, you put an Electrolux head on something that doesn't work from Aldi. Oh, it's interesting, I had a chat to the owner of this. He was up in the house working and he told me that it just wasn't powerful enough, this vacuum cleaner. He's got an Electrolux. You got an Electrolux? Is that? Yeah, he's got an Electrolux now, but he originally had a DC01 Dyson. That's one of the first Dysons. Bought this one. It's basically brand new. It's a year old, just not powerful enough. So there you go. Buy cheap, buy twice. Well, that was interesting, speaking to the man who owned that Aldi vacuum cleaner, that little one, and he basically said it wasn't powerful enough. They just threw it out. It still works, although the copper merchants have come and cut the electrical cable off. But the man owned a number of brands. He's owned a Dyson in the past. He's got an Electrolux at the moment. He said, in fact, he's got lots of vacuum cleaners. And that's an interesting person to have a chat to, because he sees the whole scope of things. But as I've been stuck myself, and I'm sure you've been there too, you see something which is fairly cheap in Aldi or somewhere. Shouldn't be picking off Aldi all the time, mind you. That was an Aldi vacuum cleaner, and you think to yourself, wow, that thing's only $40. I'll go in and buy it. Just a second, I've just got to reverse here to go down the street again. And that's the trap. In the end, it's that mind over, I don't know what happens to your brain when you see that cheap stuff. You sort of think, I'll just buy it. And in the end, you sort of get caught out, because the thing you've purchased never comes up to those expectations that you really want to have, especially when it comes to vacuum cleaners. But I will keep looking, and there's lots of rubbish to look through yet. Oh, another beautiful pile of rubbish. And we have another vacuum cleaner. The brand name is Pullman. Looks like a little industrial style vacuum cleaner. Looks like the Aldi shoppers as well. Bit of an Aldi theme to this one now, isn't there? That may have been a wet dry vac. I'm not that certain. I'm only thinking on my feet here. Looks like this was possibly the hose to it here. But nevertheless, that Pullman vacuum cleaner, mind you, it's got a bit of weight to it, has seen better days. It's got a nice little tool set here that I've just pulled apart. A bit cheap feeling, the tool set actually, and there's the filter there, and that's the sort of rubbish it was picking up. I don't know, maybe you know about those vacuum cleaners. I certainly don't. Oh no, who's going to save Buzz Lightyear? It looks like he's off to the tip. Bye bye Buzz. And I'll tell you what, this is like Aussie50 heaven. He'd been into all this stuff here. There's something over the back there I know he'd enjoy. But down here was something that caught my eye. This is a very unusual find to see out as a rubbish thing. Look at that. A little glow motor there. It's seized up. Although you could probably scrap the muffler off it and everything. The RC is gone from this remote control plane. The wing's a bit smashed up, but I dare say it would be repairable. Interesting, isn't it? Amazing what people throw out. You know, if I was a kid and I saw that on the side of the street, I would pick that up so fast it's not funny. But hey, the kids of today are wired slightly differently to the way I was when I was a kid. Oh, it's another beautiful pile of rubbish here, and here is a General Electric. Looks like an old style of vacuum cleaner. I'm certainly not familiar with this style. Looks very old, in fact. Wonder who had one of these. Looks like it's done a fair bit of work. I'd assume General Electric is a fairly good brand, but nevertheless, that one has had its day. You've got to wonder what replaced this one from the house that it came from. Oh yeah, I found something really exciting on the side of the road here. It's got me running, which is rare. Oh yes, yes, saved. He's saved. Thomas, you're with me now. You're going to a really good home. Oh yeah, a nice ride-on for my collection. There's a fire engine there as well, but what I really want to take home is this prize here. It's very similar to the one I've got. I don't know if it's exactly the same. This looks very familiar. Oh, she's been loaded with sandals. Our diesel 10's been loading this one up with sand. It's a beautiful find. Oh yeah. Well, I think I've seen the hint of a cleaner in this pile of rubbish here. It's looking very interesting, this one. It's in a box here. Oh, This is a Dyson. My goodness me, I have found a Dyson hidden away in this box here. What I'll do with this one is I'll take it home and have a bit of a inspection of what it is. A DC-05. So that's one of the earlier ones. That's interesting. It's going to add to my collection of Dysons. Very interesting. Now, I wonder why it was put in the rubbish bin here. Looks like it's all its accessories here. In fact, this machine doesn't look very used at all. You can sort of tell by looking at the wheels just how scuffed up the dust collection area is. Very interesting. And what is also interesting, it still has its cable here. The copper people, the people who collect copper haven't found this one yet. Sort of probably maybe because it was tucked away in a box. Very interesting find. Just looking at some more boxes here, and there are the other parts to that Dyson. There's the head there. It doesn't look that used. Often you can tell what a vacuum cleaner's been through by looking at the head. And there's another piece here. Ooh, very interesting find. Oh, I can't believe it, up there I found that Dyson. Over here I've got some more Thomas Gold. I can't believe this, look at this. Whoa, it looks like Thomas with a, I don't know, what's on the back there? Can anyone explain that one? It looks like a licensed deal. Although I'll have to go and inspect this. My first Thomas. Oh man, what a find. Oh yeah. Oh, this is becoming a very good day of picking up some goodies. Some good Thomas stuff there. Bit of Dyson action. Oh, a bit of an old plane in the background. And there's Aldi vacuum cleaner, which was, well, basically brand new. Couldn't suck, so the owner chucked it. You know, it's funny, you're meant to be out here looking for vacuum cleaners, but I've come to a part of the suburb which I never knew existed. There's this beautiful view down here. I told you I was at the rich end of the suburb. Look at that. How's that for a beautiful view? Nice little riverway down there and mountains, and it's pretty windy. You know, it's sort of funny, the sort of rubbish that you see being thrown out says a lot about the society you come from. I know there's some really good things thrown out in my area, and it's funny, my wife comes from a country where you would just never see this going on. People just don't throw good stuff out. But we live in a very privileged world, and it's just amazing what you see getting thrown out. And I see a vacuum cleaner over there. It's just there. Okay, here it is here. It's nice and black. It's a Titan. I don't know if this is a generic, like, no-name brand. Looks like it would have been one of those bagless styles of vacuum cleaners. It's got a free call, need help. Sega is the brand behind that. I can't quickly see year date on that at all. I mean, it doesn't look like it's done that much work. Obviously that major component there is missing. Often the heads will tell you a story about what this vacuum cleaner has done or not done. It's missing a wheel there. So maybe this is revealing to us what this vacuum cleaner was like. You know, some piles of rubbish, they just reveal some very strange things. Got to be careful of a bit of spider danger with this stuff sometimes. Looks like some fake knockoff Winnie the Pooh that possibly would have been one of the fair. Bits of skateboard, old tarps. Bits of, funny, there's bears in this one. There's a strange, like, jester's hat here. Weird stuff in there. Look at that. Oh, Flight Simulator. Wow. That was one of my favourite games. I used to play the very early version of that. And it looks like it's all in the box still. Interesting, isn't it? Where stuff ends up. Oh, there's a mask here. Look at that, very spooky. And look at that one, a snap-on bear, of all things. Snap-on bear next to a mask, next to a Flight Simulator 2000 edition. Where else in the world would you see that in one picture? It was interesting, there was no disc in that, but there's a thing for Train Simulator. So a person must have liked simulator games. Must have been a person like me, I dare say. Oh, the memories, you know, like I said, that was one of my favourite games back in the day. If people would argue it's not a game, Leo, it's a simulator, but I played it like a game. Well, from the same street I found that Dyson and a bit of Thomas gear. There's another vacuum up there. I know this sort, I've had one of these, and I know where they fail. It's a shop vac. Would have been about the same era as my one. The filters just get so choked out in these, and then you end up on this sort of endless cycle of replacing filters and you get tired of it. They tend not to be very good seal as well. They tend to leak a bit of dust. But that was my experience with one of those vacuum cleaners. I certainly know where their weakness is. Oh, a few things here actually. What's that, a shark mop thing? Was that a steam mop thing? The cord's gone because the people who come along and collect the copper have come along and got that one. There's a steam mop there, so this person was in the steam mops, but there's also a vacuum cleaner up here. A luminous COO2R 1500 watt cyclonic vacuum bagless blah blah. Couldn't even say right, could I? Yeah, what do you think of that one, guys? And it's interesting here, you can see that the filters have failed. There's actually dirt gone onto this pre-filter just before the motor. So when I see dirt in there, it shows me this vacuum cleaner's got problems, major problems. It just feels very, very cheap and nasty as well. I don't know what era this one's from. I mean, the thing with these cheap vacuum cleaners is they've got really, really bad hoses and heads. The head's not here in this one, not that I can see, but they're just cheap and nasty heads. You buy this stuff and the letdown, apart from the filter system, is this hose. Let's have a look underneath here. I don't know, yeah, made in China, of course. Yeah, interesting, the cord's still in this one. Copper merchants probably couldn't get that one out, like I can't get it out either. Oh, yes I can. Normally that would be gone. I don't know who did that one, but I'll probably work it out by the time I put this video up, or the audience will tell me, as per usual. Oh, well, I'm really up at the ritzy end of town now. Angry dogs in every second house. And here's another vacuum cleaner. What brand is this one? It's a Volta Aqua Clean Plus wet and dry shampoo. The works. Wasn't Volta a bit of an expensive brand? The copper merchants have come along and taken that out. Looks like it's done a fair bit of work. By looking at this back filter here, I can't see any ears jumping out at me. It actually feels full of stuff. I don't want to make a mess here, and maybe I will. Oh, yuck. Oh, look at that filter. Filthy. That's what I hate about filters. When I see that, I just think, yuck, I don't want to deal with it. Maybe that's why it's out here. Well, I'll tell you what, that was quite interesting. Just doing those few streets, I didn't look for too long. Finding the Dyson DC-05 was certainly a surprise to me. I never expected to find that. And I'm very curious to see what's wrong with that machine. Seeing that Aldi machine, which is only 1 year old, being thrown out, and it said to me, it just doesn't suck, or it didn't live up to his expectations. Mind you, it would have been a very cheap thing, so maybe there's a lesson in there for all of us. I'm certainly learning lessons about buying cheap stuff and then finding out, well, it performs nothing like the good stuff. Finding the Thomas gear was also very interesting. I never expected to find that. Some nice finds. I like that plush one, which looks like it's got a carriage on the back. But maybe there's something you can learn from this video. Maybe there's something I'll learn once I start to see what works and doesn't work. That's in the back of my car. And if you've lasted till this part of the video, and I've got to keep driving, I'd like to say thanks for watching and bye for now. Mind you, I can't stop looking for stuff on the side of the road. I better just stop and go home. Be a good boy. I might sneak a bit in the end here, and these two vacuum cleaner pickups are very interesting. There's a Dyson DC-05. I think this is from the early 2000 era, so it's going to be, let's call it 10 years old. It still works. It sucks pretty good. Look at this. Here it's sucking away there. So I've got to wonder, why was it thrown out? It's got all its bits and bobs. It has, everything seems to be intact. I've had a look here. It's, obviously an earlier style of Dyson. It's got filters here, which need a bit of a clean, but it doesn't have the root cyclone technology here. In a very, very funny way, this vacuum cleaner here, remembering it's about 10, 12 years old, is very similar to this Aldi one, which is only a year old, and it was thrown out. Now, you've got to say to yourself, why was this vacuum cleaner thrown out? Well, I sort of found out the reason why, because I had a chat to the person who owned this. It stopped sucking, or it just was a very poor sucker. And when you look at this, look how much gunk has collected on this filter here. So what's this, well, supposed cyclone thing doing? Nothing. It's not really a cyclonic thing at all. It's just a bagless vacuum cleaner that still gets chock-a-block with dust and clogged up, and then it stops sucking. But I think the main point here is, here's a vacuum cleaner which is 1 year old and thrown out, okay? Here's a vacuum cleaner which is, let's call it 10 years old. It's probably a little bit more than that, but it's been thrown out. I think I know the reason why it's been thrown out. It'll need another video to explain that. But nevertheless, that Dyson is in fine working order. And as I keep saying, it is very rare to find one of those machines out on the side of the road. It's a real lucky find. Oh, there's my DC01, what a classic, and there's my DC05. You know what, maybe I'll start collecting Dyson vacuum cleaners. It might be the perfect thing to collect. Sorry for the double ending, thanks for watching, and bye for now.